So Fox News put out this short little clip here that I'm about to show you of what's happening overseas in Gaza right now, and showing the abrupted destruction of neighboring towns, of community residential buildings, a complete cleansing, if you will, of these areas, and how basically because of these startling images that we're seeing all across social media, that we're currently seeing now, I think, in mainstream media, because they can't hide the fact that it is not defending anything. We're not actually in defense of something. It's more just obstructive, just catastrophic damages to wipe out these people, to make it uninhabitable for Palestinians to live in their territory. And Fox News, out of all people, put this little short clip together of just seeing the chaos unfold. Listen, watch this.
There are so many neighborhoods that are flattened. Palestinians that are internally displaced will simply have no homes to return to. And while we get a first-hand look at the destruction here, it's important to remember that Palestinian journalists do not have this access. They have been pushed to the south. Dozens have been killed. There's this false narrative about Palestinian journalists. More than 100 of them have been killed by Israel since the war began. And I take very few positions in the conflicts that we covered, but let this be a position that I take. Journalists, specifically Palestinian journalists, must be protected amid the war. The Israelis have killed journalists in drone strikes. They've killed them with small arms fire, and it's unacceptable. There are so many.
So that was Fox News telling you this. Fox News, who's very, very much pro-Israel. And you'll get people like Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Jesse Water, like all the caricatures of that news network telling you that this is defense, that we're defending. Remember October 7th? Remember the hostages? Well, apparently they've also forgot too. Because you notice how in all this destruction, all this chaos, what exactly are they defending? How many hostages are they trying to save by blowing up portions of Lebanon right now? How many hostages are they trying to save by going toe-to-toe in warfare with Iran? How many people are they trying to save in that measure? What's the defense motive of this? Because I would like to know, even the most, bloodthirsty stuff, what that continuously say, well, remember October 7th, remember, what exactly are they defending this? Because this is not defense. This is you blowing up entire neighborhood and displacing people and killing off a population because of your bloodthirsty prophecy. And that's pretty much what they're defending. They're defending the Zionist cult. They're not defending the hostages. They're not defending people. None of that matters to them. They couldn't care less about that. They're defending the lies that they've been told for years under this political cult called Zionism that people conflate to Judaism, and some think it's a religious cult. It isn't. It is a political motive to attack Palestinians, to attack their territory, and wipe them off the face of the earth so that they could extend their power and their geopolitics further into the Middle East and destroy all these territories surrounding it. Because October 7th has nothing to do with Lebanon. What happened on October 7th has nothing to do with Iran. What happened on October 7th has nothing to do with Jordan or Syria or any of the other nations that Israel is planning to invade. But it is the agenda of a bloodthirsty ghoul like Netanyahu wants to do, who has been in constant war since he's been in power, which is why Israelis mass protest against their own government. And Israelis, people within the Israeli system, are being punished, are being tortured, are being scrutinized by their own government. So explain to me how any of this is about defense. and how we are obligated, other nations are obligated to pay up taxpayer money that we're already suffering our own economic woes. How we got to cough up more and more money to pay for this destruction. That is not defending anyone whatsoever. That is amazing that they could broadcast that on Fox News. That is absolutely amazing, because you know that no U.S. media, Canadian media, nowhere in North America will they ever actually show you the real truth, will ever show you the real boots on ground devastation of these wars and tell you exactly how these wars came to be. Notice how it's a year later and we still don't really know and understand about October 7th. They want you to keep remembering it, how devastating it was that all these people got captured, but they don't tell you how Hamas originated. They don't tell you that Netanyahu paid Hamas to keep in power, to stymie against Palestinians and their liberation, to have some sort of freedom and stability within their own territory. How Israel even started. They don't tell you about the Nakba. They don't tell you about any of that stuff. But they will tell you that we have to do this, otherwise you're anti-Semitic. We got to save the Jewish people. We got to save Jewish citizens in Israel. The same Jewish citizens that are being mauled on the street for not conflating to Zionism, for standing up against the Zionist project, for standing up against the genocide. And right now, Jewish citizens are more safer in Iran than they are in Israel. Right now, there's a huge population of Israelis that are leaving that territory, leaving the country of Israel in mass waves, because they know that they are doomed. Their future is doomed when they're under the control of a warlord like Benjamin Netanyahu. They know that this is happening. They know their economy is crumbling. They know that this endless warfare is going to be devastating for everybody. Not just Palestinians, not just Lebanese, not just people of Iran, not just this, but everybody. The minute we go into warfare with Iran, we're initially starting World War III. Because who's backing Iran? Russia and China. Who's also our faux pas enemies that we have cultivated and boogeyman and fear-mongered people? Are China and Russia. And we're also trying to start warfares, individual warfare with Russia and China. So we're going to be ending up in World War III, continuing down this path. And I, again, ask the people that are so brainwashed into thinking that the official narrative and the Zionist narrative are so partial. I ask them, who are we defending? What are we defending in any of this? How many hostages have we saved throughout this process through wiping out residential neighborhoods? And what are we doing here in defense of those people? Like Justin Trudeau condemns Iran and says Israel has the right to defend itself. Well, you just saw the defense that Israel's taking, wiping out apartment buildings, making it uninhabitable for any Palestinian to live, wiping them off on the face of the earth. Who are we defending? What is there to defend when you wipe out an entire population and their ability to live? But of course, Justin Trudeau is going to play to this because he's in line with AIPAC, he's in line with Mossad, and he also is in line with NATO, that's also backing a lot of this warfare. And, you know, Russia supports Iran, so Justin Trudeau naturally would go against Iran because Iran's backed by Russia and blah, 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 blah. That will lead to World War III, which is what we are advancing by these idiotic, insane, psychopathic warmongers, these bloodthirsty criminals that are the top of power right now. Here's even Pierre Poilievre, the opposition here in Canada. He's stating that Poilievre supports Israel proactively striking Iranian nuclear sites to defend Israel. So, Pierre Poilievre is saying that Israel needs to bomb Iran just because to defend itself from any future activities. Iran did not want to attack Israel. Iran has never wanted to attack Israel until this moment, because now Israel is going after Iran. So, but Pierre Poilievre is saying that we need to proactively strike in Iran, these nuclear sites. We need to attack them first so that they don't attack us later. Does that sound like a healthy Canadian to you? Coming from a peacekeeping society? Then we need to attack these people so that maybe in the future they won't attack us. You know how sinister that sounds? Do you know how crazy that sounds? That's like going up to someone, punching them in the face and saying, I had to punch them in the face because later on in life, they may do something to me. I don't know. We will never know. But I feel like I got to do this. And here's what's happening. This is in Lebanon right now. As we're speaking about this, Lebanese health minister saying that Israel destroyed an entire neighborhood full of residents and extreme death toll is expected. So, again, they're just wiping out populations. This has nothing to do with October 7th. This has nothing to do with defending people. This has nothing to do with hostages. This is all it is. All it is that the Mossad, Netanyahu, and all the global powers that be there aligned with this malice activity, the malice Zionist project, want to advance warfare to all these different territories to seize control and power in the Middle East. Just like RFK Jr., the renowned Zionist himself, even said that the reason we need Israel is because it's like an aircraft carrier. It's a military base. And if we don't have a military base that has eyes and ears on the rest of the Middle East so we can control and dominate, then we lose control of the Middle East to dominate and control. This is all about geopolitics. It's about globalization, and everybody, from Israelis to Palestinians to the people of Lebanon to Iranians to Syrians to us, we're just the sacrifice. We're being used and abused for bloodthirsty geopolitical globalist powers. And this is what happens with it. Watch this.
عدوان إسرائيلي غير مسبوق على الضاحية الجنوبية لبيروت. عشرات المباني دمرتها الغارات الإسرائيلية التي ضربت منطقة حارة قبل قليل. نشهد حجم الدمار الكبير. أعمال الإغاثة لا تزال
those are apartment buildings behind the smoke there.
أكثر من 10 مباني دمرتها الصواريخ الإسرائيلية عصر هذا اليوم في الضاحية الجنوبية لبيروت.
Now I know somewhere out there. There's going to be some crazed individual, some crazed bloodthirst Zionist out there is going to say that, well, we had to destroy that building because there may be Hezbollah living in the midst. There may be missiles in the area. Maybe there's a Hamas recruiting center in the basement of the school. And that's why we got to blow up an entire neighborhood. Again, think about how insane that is. Think about how sociopathic that is. That should be locked. People like that should be locked away in a mental institution. Those are beyond worse than serial killers. For anyone to say that, that'd be like saying, hey, there may be a school shooter, possible school shooter in your neighborhood, so we got to take a bomb and destroy the entire town. Because there may or may not be one individual that may be a threat to something. We don't know for sure, but maybe, just maybe, and just destroy everything in its path. These are moralist, empty, garbage people. Zionist truly is a cancer of the soul. Zionism truly is a cancer of thought. And to conflate that to Judaism and make the excuse of being anti-Semitic for questioning why you would blow up an entire community of residential buildings that have nothing to do with the war, nothing to do with October 7th, nothing to do with anything, and saying that this is defensive somehow makes you a bloodthirsty criminal. And for us to call it out is not anti-Semitic. In fact, it's anti-Semitic to associate Zionism to Judaism, because Judaism, true Jewish people, don't agree with this. You're actually ruining the true essence of being a Jew. Because Zionism has taken over like a plague to a religious institution. And it's all for politics. It's all for globalization. It's none of it is defending anything. Anything. And you don't hear a peep out of hardly anyone. Even when the Fox News reporter said about the journalists. You think in a world that we care so much about free press, oh my God, should we not care about Palestinian journalists that are being murdered for covering the story? Do we not have an obligation for that? Oh, of course not. Of course not. We didn't say 2 words about Julian Assange. We never said anything about the journalist that was locked in captivity in Ukraine and died in his jail cell. We didn't care about that. We don't even care about the American journalist that was killed in Saudi Arabia. Because as former President Trump, who was in power at that time, said, we got to care about the business. I know it's sad, it's tragic, absolutely tragic that American journalists died at the hands of our allies, but we got to still be business with them. Because they do not at all care. And that's why I hope people wake up to realize that all these wars are complete bullshit, and we are just the lab rats. We are just the sacrifice that have to deal with this bullshit, because the people in charge of these wars, the people that proactively are doing this, are the hedge fund billionaires that profit off of death and disparity. And that's why they psychologically psych us out by hating each other, hating other countries, hating our neighbors and friends and family, and causing warfare to exist. Because in order to profit off the war on terror, they have to first initialize terror. They have to create the terror. And that's where Hamas comes in. That's where all these terrorist groups... Amazing how so many people know about all the names of these terrorist groups that can be lurking around in every corner. They talk about Hamas. They talk about Al-Qaeda. They talk about ISIS. But not a single person will ever tell you the explanation of how these terrorist groups came to be. And the reason for that is because the terrorist groups that came to be came from the people that are telling us to be afraid of them. People like Hillary Clinton. Go watch the 2010 confessional tape where she admitted the United States created terrorist groups. Go look at the articles that the Israeli publications came out with reports about Netanyahu paying Hamas to stay in power. Again, the only way you can profit off war on terror and keep the war on terror going is you create and elaborate more terror. That's what these people are doing. And it's just absolutely sickening. Here's this. This is in context. This is northern Gaza. Social media posts from Israelis reveal the massive destruction they caused in a Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza. Thousands of Palestinians are trapped in the encampment amid the Israeli ground assaults. Again, who are we? Are we doing this to save hostages? Are we doing this to... What is this for? What is this for? Is there Hamas in this refugee camp? They won't even say that. They used to do that beforehand. Oh, we had to blow up that camp because there may be a Hamas terrorist. We don't know for sure. Now they just do it at the whim. Look at that. Completely destroyed. Completely destroyed. And remember, RFK Jr. would say that's privileged. Oh, the people of Palestine and Gaza, they're so privileged. They're so spoiled with all this humanitarian aid. What about the humanitarian aid of, Zionists that just want to blow up these communities again? They just want to see bloodshed all over the place. Like a satanic ritual. What about those people? Do you not care about them? Really just sickening. And whether you vote Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, or, even just any support of any politician in America or Canada at this point, sadly, this is going to continue on because of how corrupted, how evil, how powerful, how global this has gone. And like I said, the people that are trying to pick a fight now with Iran and saying that we have to do this to, again, support Israel or do anything, remotely to that, is going to initialize World War III, which is exactly what Israel wants. Exactly what Netanyahu wants. Do you ever notice that Israel's enemies are the same enemies of the United States and Canada? The same exact enemies, even though they have nothing to do with any of us. But the whole purpose of it is to gain as much warfare as possible so we can gain control of these territories. Just like how we invade Iraq for the oil, we go into Syria for the oil, we went to Afghanistan for the mineral wealth, we're going into Ukraine to steal their resources. All this has nothing to do with defense. We haven't had defensive warfare since probably World War II. And that's even objectable. Because we're not defending jack squat. If we actually were, then our leaders that are telling us to go to war, they would also be in war. That's the difference between stuff like this and the Revolutionary War. At least George Washington had the balls to fight himself. But do you think Lindsey Graham screaming at the top of his lungs that we have to defend more of Israel and defend more of Ukraine, do you think he's going to have any notion to send himself or his family members out to these wars that he's created? Do you think he's ever going to do that? No. Which is why he pushes more of it. And shows what a coward and a cuck he is. Shows them what a disgusting, pathetic human being he is. Same with Dick Cheney. Same with all of them. Any of these MFers that push for war, that know for certain they would never fight themselves, show how pathetic they are. And this is what they're supporting. This is what they're supporting. What in hell is this defensive? What are they defending when they're wiping out entire properties, entire communities, just bombing an entire city to wipe clean? I guess that's where ethnic cleansing comes from. Because it's kind of like cleansing out all these buildings, destroying them, wipe them out, purging Palestinians, killing them, wiping a clean slate so that, real estate investors can come in and buy up the luxurious properties that are nearby. Oh my God, the lovely sea area. It's just so beautiful around Gaza. It's a shame that Palestinians were there first. This is not defensive whatsoever. We have psychotic, evil, cultivating monsters in control of this. And they're going to put us to World War III just for the sake of it, than do anything defensive for any one of us. So, vote at your own risk, I guess. The moral of the story.